So in this video, I want to go through how to grow any marketing agency to 100K a month plus. Now, just so you know that this is something that we've actually done, and I'm not just talking about something, airy-fairy kind of thing. Here is two screenshots from our ad accounts from last month. So this is the last 30 days, basically 23rd of Feb to the 24th of March, 23rd of Feb, 24th of March. And we put about 50 grand into ad spend. I spent about 47,000 to be specific in ad spend. And during that same time period, last 4 weeks here, 26th of Feb to the 25th of March, we did 170K in new client retainers specifically from these ads here, right? And so I just wanted to show you that, just so you know that, what I'm talking about is actually from experience and not, something that I watched in a YouTube video, right? And we also, what's important to know is that we work with other marketing agencies and we run their ads for them. So we have a lot of insight into all of these different industries with these different marketing agencies. And what I've found is there's a consistent theme, no matter what industry you're in, that there's consistencies in terms of what you need to implement on and what you need to do in order to scale to 100K a month plus. And so that's what I want to go through in this video, essentially. So the first things first is, before you click off the video, I know you've probably heard this thing a lot, but you need what we call a scalable offer, right? It's so important to have a scalable offer. What does that mean? Well, a scalable offer, in my opinion, I'm kind of biased, but in my opinion, a scalable offer is any type of offer that can work on ads. Now, it's important to note how I just said that. It's any offer that can work on ads. It's not any, it's not trying to make the ads work for your offer. It's the other way around. And that's the biggest upfront misstep that I see so many people make, is they try and make ads work for their offer. Whereas instead, you need to look at it as making your offer work for your ads. It's the same thing that if you've ever read the book Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, he talks about the idea that you need to make your offer, you need to channel the desire, the pre-existing desire of the market into your offer, not trying to channel your offer into the market. So you don't try and force this offer to work on the market. Instead, you look at what the market wants and you make your offer around what it is that they want. It's the same thing with ads. You need to make the offer work on ads as opposed to trying to force ads to work on your offer. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing that you need to focus on is, in my opinion, again, the easiest, most efficient, and if you do it correctly, most profitable way to scale an agency is to run ads for your own acquisition, period. And so the problem though is that most people don't have an offer that works on ads. And so then their hands are tied to trying to make email outbound work or whatever it is. And email outreach can work, but if you're trying to get to 100, 200, 300, 500K a month or whatever it might be, ads is the easiest way to do that if you have a good offer. So you've got to start on the right foot. So when it comes to the offer, here's my thought process around it. So you've got the niche, first things first, then you have the metric, then you have the volume, then time frame, and then guarantee. So what do these things mean? Well, the niche, everyone kind of knows what that means. But here's the thing, there's certain niches that work better on ads. So everything that when I'm thinking about this stuff, when I either do it for myself or we do it for clients, I'm always thinking about, as I said, how is this going to work on ads? What do we need to do to make this work on ads? And so here with the niche, you need to think about what is going to be the best niche on ads. Now, if you're in e-commerce, okay, or if you're in any type of extremely saturated industry, if you're in e-commerce, coaching coaches on how to coach coaches, teaching coaches on coaching coaches, right? That industry, these very, very, very saturated industries, it's tremendously hard to make that work on ads. Hormozi often talks about having a level 10 skill set and a level 1 opportunity. The level 1 opportunity in this space is e-commerce, period. It's a level 1 opportunity. So you might have a level 10 skill set, but because you're in a level 1 opportunity, it's tremendously difficult to scale it, right? Because it's a level 1 opportunity. Now, if you took your same skill set, but you applied that to a different industry, you've not changed anything about your skills. You probably don't need to change anything about your deliverables because it's actually easier to deliver in a less saturated industry. And you're going to 10x easily just by swapping the industry as opposed to, swapping your service or business model or whatever it might be. And so the niche is the first thing you need to get clear on. And in my opinion, any type of like local lead gen niche, any type of Any type of lead gen niche in general typically is a lot easier to acquire clients for, as well as deliver the result for. So like we just, launched a new client, and he works with startups specifically. Startups who I think it's basically who have a Series A or Series B locked in, and they found product market fit and they're trying to scale up now. We launched his ads like 48 hours ago at the point of recording this, and I think he's booked in like 11 qualified sales calls at $60 cost per book call. If you were in any other industry like e-com or any saturated industry, you would never see those results ever. You just wouldn't, because of the industry. And because that industry is very hard to make work on ads. You can't make ads work for the industry. The easiest thing to do is just choose a scalable industry, and that works on ads, and run ads to it. That's it. So that's the first thing. Got to get that locked in. Then the metric. So this is all still related to the offer, right? So the metric is, now that you've identified the niche, you need to look at what's the metric that this niche most deeply desires or wants, right? So like with my industry, we work with agencies, right? And we have a done for you offer for agencies. And so when I think about my niche, agency owners or marketing agencies specifically, when I think about that niche, I then need to think about what's the metric that they want the most. What's the thing that they desire the most? And that, every single time, for agency owners specifically, is sales calls. That's the metric that they want. Now, one step further than that is qualified sales calls. So they don't want necessarily sales calls, they want qualified sales calls. That's obviously a sales call with somebody who's in their industry, that's doing the revenue that they require them to do, and maybe have, the right team size in some instances that they require as well. Like you need to have at least 5 people on the team doing 100K a month or more, and you need to be a roofer, and you need to be a dental or whatever it might be, right? Now, another easy example of this is if you're in the roofing industry, most roofers don't want roofing jobs, right? Like that's the metric, that they won't mind roofing jobs, right? But what they want specifically is roofing replacements, because a roofing replacement to a roofer is their most valued job. That you could do like 50 grand to replace a whole roof. You think about a house replacing the roof. Like for a roofer, that's their most desirable metric, is roofing replacements specifically. If you work with any type of contractor or construction type company, or something in that nature, or something of that nature, their most desirable metric is, you could say, what's it for them? Appointments. Yeah, you could say that. But if you was to take it one step further, the desirable metric for those guys is qualified in-person quotes. That's their most desirable metric, because they know if they're in the home of a potential client, and that potential client has the budget for whatever it, let's say it's like a bathroom remodeler. Well, if someone has a bathroom that they want remodeled and they have 25 grand to put into that bathroom, then that is what a contractor specifically would want the most, like somebody like that. So then that would be the metric for them. Does that make sense? So you want to try and figure out, okay, for the niche, what's the most desirable thing they want? All right. That's the next thing. Then you want to look at what's the volume of that. So again, going back to my example, my niche is agencies. The metric is qualified sales calls. Now, the volume, if I was like, hey, I'll get you 5 qualified sales calls a month, if I said that on my ads, it wouldn't work. Even though the niche is good, it's actually getting quite saturated now, but the metric is good. It's qualified sales calls, that's what they want. But the problem is, I'm only saying I'll get you 5 qualified sales calls a month, as an example. That also wouldn't work. Now, leading off of the first two, the third thing is you need to have a big enough volume of the metric that gets the prospect excited. So again, for example, with my ads, I say, hey, I'll guarantee you 90 qualified sales calls per month. I say, marketing agencies, I'll guarantee you 90 qualified sales calls per month. So 90 gets my market excited. They're like, oh, that's interesting, right? It's the same thing with that roofing replacements. If you go to a roofer and you say, hey, I'll get you 1 roofing replacement every 2 months, it's like the roofing replacement they want, but only 1 every 2 months. There's no innate desire for that. Whereas if you say, hey, I'll get you 10 per month. Hey, I'll get you 20 per month. All right. Or with the contractors, right? I'll get you 20 qualified in-person quotes per month, right? Or as another example, it might be gyms, right? I'll get you 100 new members per month. New members is what gyms want. And 100 per month is a desirable big number. I don't know if that would be logistically be able to be delivered on, but you get the point. Then you got the time frame, okay? And the time frame, again, if I was to say, hey, I'll get you 90 qualified sales calls, okay, volume's good, metric is good, niche is good. But if I say, hey, I'll get you that in the next 4 years, time frame's off. So you need to have then a desirable time frame. Now, there is always a line with these things as well, right? If you say, hey, I'll get you 1,000 qualified sales calls tomorrow, that's also time frame's good, volume's good, but it's unbelievable. So you can't go too far because then people just start to not believe it, right? So then you need a desirable time frame. Typically, if you can keep it either on a monthly basis or 3 months. So you say, hey, I'll get you X per month, or you say, I'll get you X in the next 90 days. So I'll get you, 250 qualified sales calls in the next 90 days, or you don't pay. That's also desirable as well, right? Then finally you have the guarantee. Now the guarantee can typically be, ideally you want it to be or you don't pay, because that's the most desirable thing. You can do a or we work for free. They're the most common ones, to be honest. And in terms of this guarantee specifically, there's an idea that we, I don't know if we created it, but we talk about it a lot in our internal team, which is the idea of downselling the guarantee. So downselling the guarantee essentially refers to, if in your ads you say, for example, I'll guarantee you 16, 15 roofing replacements, whatever it is, per month, right? And so then somebody books in a call with you. They're a roofer. They want 16 roofing replacements per month, and they book in a call with you, and then they show up to the call, and then you realize that, hey, this, in order for me to guarantee you 15 roofing replacements per month, I require, from a delivery standpoint, I need 25 grand per month in ad spend. Or easy numbers, I require 30,000 a month in ad spend, because it typically costs me we have an average cost per new roofing replacement generated is 2K. So if you want 15 roofing replacements per month, I need 30K in ad spend. Now, some roofers, probably most roofers, won't want to start out at 30K a month in ad spend. So then what you can do is downsell the guarantee. And so then you can go, okay, well, here's the thing. Because you only have 10,000 per month in ad spend that you really want to dedicate to this, that's like your budget for ad spend. Here's what I can do. I can guarantee you 5 roofing replacements per month, because it costs you 2K per roofing replacement. You've only got 10,000. I can guarantee you 5 new roofing replacements per month. And although they booked in a call with you, wanting the 15 that you was talking about in the ads, because you provided a logical reason as to why you can't get them specifically the 15, I require 30,000, you don't have the 30,000, but here is what I can do for you. And then you provided a logical explanation as to why you can't deliver that for them specifically, but here's what you can do. And then what you downsell to is something they still want, which most roofers will still want 5 roofing replacements per month. So you downsell to something they still want, they'll take that every single time. Now you just, but here's the thing. So not only will they take that every single time, but if you ran an ad that said, hey, I'll get you 5 roofing replacements per month, it won't be seen as desirable. So you always want to go for the top of the market. You want to assume everyone who's going to see your ad is going to have, in your case, the 30,000 a month ad spend in this example. So you run the ad to the top of the market, because if you run the ad to the top of the market, you'll get those guys and everyone below them. But if you say, hey, I'll get you 5 roofing replacements per month, then you're only ever going to get the lower people, and you'll never get the people above them. Does that make sense? So if you run your ads to the lowest rung of the market, you'll only get those guys. If you run the ads to the top rung of the market, you'll get those guys and everyone below. Now, the distinction between that is then, it's like, well, why don't I just run ads to people doing $1 billion a year? The problem is that you need to always have proof to back up your claim. So if you want to go after the top of the market, you need to have results that show that you're actually able to help other people, or that you've helped other people in the market get those results. That's the only way you're actually going to be able to get those guys. Because if you just have an offer for those guys, like this, hey, I'll guarantee you 15 roofing replacements a month, but you don't have any proof of you actually getting other people 15 roofing replacements a month, then you'll end up getting nobody through the ads. So you have to go as high as your results allow you to go. So if you've got 4 clients that they all spent 50 grand in ad spend per month, and you got them all, again, I'll just use the roofing example, they all got 25 roofing replacements, then your guarantee should be, hey, I'll guarantee you 25 roofing replacements per month, or you don't pay. That would be a great offer, right? then you run that ad, and then you probably know most people coming through the ad are not going to have the 50K a month ad spend that your results had, but you can still guarantee that and back that up with those results. And then when, as I say, you get them on the call, if they don't have the 50 grand a month ad spend that you require to get the 25 guaranteed, okay, cool, no problem. Here's what we can do based on your budget. Here's what we can do. And again, because it's based on their budget, they understand, you provided them a logical reason as to why you can't do that. So they understand. And then as long as you downsell them to something that they still want, you'll close the deal. So hopefully that makes sense on the scalable offer. Now, when you apply this, as I say, to an industry that's not saturated or not as saturated as an e-com or whatever, because I know a lot of people who used to follow me on YouTube, obviously I've not done many videos for a minute now, but I used to talk a lot about e-com, and it used to be tremendous. It used to do really, really well. But here's the thing. I've realized since then, obviously running ads for our own acquisition and really switching all acquisition to ads 100%, no organic, no email outbound or anything like that. I've just seen what works best on ads. And I'm just telling you right now, this stuff is what works best on ads. And also after working with clients who are agencies in different niches, I also have a very good view of like all these different industries and how they perform in ads, because we run all their ads for our clients, right? And again, easiest industries, most scalable industries are industries that are less saturated. For example, we had one client where we launched these ads probably 3 weeks ago or something at this point. He was initially in ecom. He was his roots were deeply embedded in ecom. And, he was at about 50, 60K a month. He had a full office out in Melbourne, real office, right, in person, and all ecom based. And I told him about this, and I was like, dude, honestly, if I was in your position, here's what I would do. I would switch industries. I would do this, do that. And he listened to me. He changed industries, and now we launched his ads in the construction space. And he's getting no word of a lie, $40 cost per book call. And in his first, as I say, we launched ads, I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago. And in his first day of taking calls from the ads that we was running for him, he had 6 calls booked. He had 4 that showed up, and he closed 2 clients at 3K per month each on the first month. And then from there, they're going to roll into a 5K per month each retainer from there on in the first day of taking sales calls. You would never, ever see that in ecom, period. And he's getting a $40 cost per book call. And he's only spending, I think, $150 a day right now because he can't handle the back end volume. He needs to figure out the fulfillment and whatnot. But that's just the facts. So there you go. All right. So that's the first thing, is scalable offer. Now, once you've got this scalable offer in place, I would really recommend to run to a direct VSL funnel. Right? What's a direct VSL funnel? Direct VSL funnel is essentially, I can pull one up as an example here. All right. So this is us here. Basically, a direct VSL funnel is where you take the offer that we've just created, all right, and you base everything around the offer. So you're going direct, almost for the jugular, if you want to call it that. You're like, here's what I can do for you. Like, there's no, fancy stuff about it. It's just like, this is what I can do for you. And again, if you pick the right niche, this can work. This works tremendously well. Here's our VSL funnel. Call out the market. I go straight for the offer. You can see, this framework here in terms of niche, metric, volume, time frame, guarantee. Play out right here. So the niche, bang, marketing agency above 25K a month. We don't work with anyone below that. 90 qualified sales calls, metric, and the volume. So the metric is the qualified sales calls. The volume is the 90. In the next 30 days, time frame, completely done for you, or you don't pay, guaranteed. So that is literally the whole framework. And then you can see here with the actual VSL itself, it's literally, I think, 8-minute video from memory, 8-minute 38 video. And essentially the framework of this VSL is simply pretty much market call out, offer, results, because you never want to make an offer without backing it up, right? Anyone can make an offer. Very few people can back it up. So you want to make the offer, and this is why I said before, you only want to go as big as you can on the offer front that your results allow you to. Because if you go any bigger than that, your results then can't back up the claim, and then it ends up never ever working. So you need to go as big as possible that your results allow. You want to go offer, state results, and then you want to go into basically your mechanism, which explains why you are different and superior. If you're able to make your market see you, your entity, your offer, your solution, your vehicle, whatever it is that you're selling, if you can make your market see you as different from everyone else in the market and superior to everyone else in the market, they'll pick you every single time. That's how you create an all roads lead to you scenario, to where, nobody ever actively seeks out the second best in any market. You don't seek out the second best option for anything. And the same goes with agencies. Your ideal clients do not want to work with the second best. In their mind, they're only going to work with the best option that's in their mind. If they think somebody else is the best option and you're not, they're always going to go with the other person. Obviously, that makes sense. And so then the game becomes, how do I get perceived as the best or the only option? Because once you're perceived as the best or the only option, everyone comes to you. Does that make sense? And the way in which you do that is by positioning yourself as different and superior. That's it. Because the fundamental desire for whatever it is that you're offering, if your offer is done correctly, then it should speak to the thing that your market wants the absolute most. And so whilst that's going to get them hooked in, it's going to pique their interest on the front end, it's not in and of itself going to be the thing that's going to allow them to book in a call with you and ultimately buy from you. That's just going to get them hooked in, is the offer, right? They're not ultimately going to buy the offer. The reason why they'll actually buy from you is because they want the offer, but then they can see that you're the best vehicle to get them to the offer. Because I guarantee you, you're not the only person that they've seen a similar offer from. So like, for example, we say about, hey, we'll get you more, qualified sales calls, right? Like that's what we say. But my market has seen so many other people talk about, hey, I'll get you more qualified sales calls. And so before they probably even ever see our stuff. And so if, all they bought was the offer, then they would have gone with those other agencies. And some clients have in the past and they got burned and didn't work out and whatever else. And then they come to us. And the reason that they come to us and then ultimately buy from us is because they can see that we are the best option or the best vehicle to get them that offer. Does that make sense? And so that's what you want to explain in your mechanism. And then obviously it's just a simple CTA. So this, the direct VSL funnel is, it's relatively basic. But obviously to make it work at a very high level, to be able to scale ad spend to, 2,000-3,000 a day, you really want to get this stuff deeply locked in, because you can do it, but it's a question of how well is it done. Like if you just do a VSL and it doesn't work, don't write off VSLs or VSLs don't work. Instead, make the VSL better, because just because you do a VSL doesn't mean to say it's going to convert. It's not if you do a VSL, it's how good is the VSL, right? So that's the second thing. I would drive all that traffic to the direct VSL funnel. And by the way, on the front end with the ads, we only run Facebook ads. That's all we do, because we just consistently seen that generates the best results. And the framework, the structure of the ads is very similar to this direct VSL funnel. So everything starts from your sales script, and then the VSL script, funnel, whatever, is an extract of your sales script, and then the ads is an extract of your funnel, of the VSL. Does that make sense? So everything starts from this. And once you've got that set up, then it becomes a thing of obviously back-end fulfillment, etc. Now here's the thing, right? So on fulfillment. With fulfillment specifically, if you go into a less saturated industry, what you'll find is fulfillment becomes tremendously easier. So for example, e-commerce. Again, I know I'm throwing a lot of shade on e-com, but it's kind of warranted. E-commerce, it's very difficult to acquire clients for. It's very difficult. It's really, really difficult, right? Because of the level of saturation. And here's the thing. You get the client eventually after, really working to get the client, and then delivery becomes even more difficult, because there's so many moving parts in ecom. And if you've ever ran ads for ecom, if you do email marketing for ecom, CRO for ecom, paid ads for ecom, whatever it is that you do for ecom, it's definitely doable, obviously, but it's a tremendous amount of work. And granted, you've got a lot of upside in ecom, because obviously, it's infinitely scalable. So if you can get a client, spending 5K a day and you're getting a 3 ROAS, that's 150 grand a month. If you have that 150 grand a month in ad spend, if you always get a 3 ROAS, that's what, 450 a month in return on ad spend, whatever. They're good numbers. If you can get a percent of the upside, that's all well and good. You can charge that client 10, 15K a month. But the effort required, the energy required to generate that client and to deliver for that client is tremendously difficult. And so again, if you're at 500K a month with your ecom agency, 100, 200K a month with your ecom agency, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm saying more so if you're at 20, 30, 40, 50K a month with your e-com agency, I personally would say the easiest way for you to get to 250, 500K a month with your agency is to switch niches and scale in another niche. And the reason for that is, again, acquisition's easier, but fulfillment is also far easier in these other industries because you just got to get them leads. Or you just got to, typically lead gen is a good option, but, fulfillment is just so much easier. And so, how I would be thinking about it is typically for fulfillment in any type of lead gen industry, normally Facebook ads is the go-to, right? You can do Google as well, Google ads. And then I would be driving that to some kind of like go high level funnel or like the snapshots in Go High Level. I don't use it, but I know of it. Drive them to some kind of funnel, kind of like I do, with our clients and whatnot. We run their ads to a VSL funnel, drive them to some kind of funnel. And then from there, you can build out the automations. And once you've built that kind of system in the back end once, obviously you just replicate that across all of your clients. And then from there, you drive them to, depends on the industry and whatnot, but typically you drive them to an appointment, and from there, the client kind of handles it from there on in. And then also you can add on like coaching for sales side, right? So if you're in the dental niche, for example, and you run Facebook ads to some kind of funnel or Go High Level, it can be ClickFunnels, whatever it is, and then you drive them to an appointment. Obviously, then it's on the client to close the appointments. But if you really want to increase your sticky rate, increase the stickiness, of your offer on the back end and ultimately get your clients even better results, I would highly recommend that you start to add in some element of some kind of coaching or something there for sales, because most of these guys in these, lead gen industries, you can generate them the leads, but what do you do if they don't close them? Well, they're going to leave you. And you could sit there with an ego and be like, oh, well, we got them the leads, but it's like, yeah, but also you just lost the client. So like, what's the point in getting them the leads if they don't stay for any longer than 4 months, So one way to increase that stickiness rate of your offer, as well as obviously the LTV of your clients, is just add in coaching on the sales side. It's like with us, we get our clients appointments and we only guarantee appointments, right? And we only talk about on the front end, hey, we'll get you appointments. Why? Because that's what my industry wants. But we also we go so deep on the sales side of things, call reviews, training up the client sales teams. We have a whole section built out of just sales training specifically, and we do one-on-one sales training as well, because we know if we want a client to stay with us for a long time, they got to be closing the appointments that we're generating them, right? And it's the same thing for most lead gen industries. So that's what I would personally recommend. And then from there, also, this is the other thing, you'll probably find account manager can handle anywhere between, depending on industry and input, etc., 30 to 60 clients. And so again, this is another area where, because it's a less saturated industry, it's easier to get results. There's less time per client required to also get them results, because it's a lot more replicable per client. And so that means that one account manager or one media buyer, whatever you want to call them, can handle 30 to 60 clients for one account manager. So then it's also a lot more scalable from a fulfillment standpoint, because that's something not a lot of people talk about, is having scalable fulfillment. Because if you're like ecom, for example, it's very one-on-one. It's very like specific per client and whatnot. So it doesn't make the fulfillment as scalable, because you've got to spend so much time per client. Whereas these other industries, it's a lot more scalable because you just need less time per client to ultimately fulfill it. And again, you can't charge local lead gen as much or lead gen as much as you can in ecom. But also in ecom, one account manager could probably handle 7 to 10 clients, maybe 15 at max. But one account manager in some kind of lead gen industry, they can handle 60 clients. Right? With us, it's 35 clients we found is the absolute max. But even so, they can handle 35 clients. So you charge, $2,500 per month per client, for example, or $3,000 per month per client. That's 35 clients, just over 100,000 in management from one media buyer can handle 100,000 or so in monthly recurring retainers from one account manager. Now in ecom, that would require 10 clients at 10K per month each, which is what one account manager could handle. And, depending on your structure and the type of clients you work with, that is achievable, but it's a lot more difficult. So that's that. And then from there, also, one of the things I wanted to mention as well is always try and keep your fulfillment labor at 15% or lower. Okay. Fulfillment labor specifically, if one account manager is, I always typically say, for your labor specifically, is 10% on the account manager, and then 5% on any other required labor to fulfill the client. So any other like labor required to fulfill on the client. Sometimes, you know, you might need like a graphic designer, you might need a like a funnel builder, for example, or whatever it might be, like a CSM even, you know. You've always got then 5% of the client's retainer to go on those things, and then 10% of the client's retainer for the main account manager. So if they're doing 3,000 a month retainer, easy numbers, that'll be 300 to the account manager, and it would be 150 to like a graphic designer or a CSM or whatever it might be. And again, because the volume of clients that one account manager can handle, if they're getting $300 per month per client, it seems low per client, but at the end of the day, they could handle 30 clients, for example, or 60 clients or 50 clients or whatever it is. And so easy numbers, 300 at 30 clients each, $300 per month per client, and handling 30 clients under management, that's $9,000 a month. That's a pretty good salary for a good account manager. If they do 35, that's like, I think 12.5 or 10.5 thousand a month, whatever the math is, but it's about 10K a month salary, 120K a year salary. That's pretty decent. So that's my thoughts there. And then from there, once you've got it working at a unit level, okay, once you got it working at a unit level, meaning you've got acquisition on point, you can get clients profitably, you can acquire clients profitably, and once they come on board, you can deliver them a good service, meaning you get them results, you get client results, and you deliver them a good client experience. Once you've got those two things locked in on fulfillment, client results, client experience, and you can acquire clients profitably, now we just need to push the volume through the system. That's it. And that's ultimately where you can then look at scaling. So in my opinion, that is the most efficient way to get to 100K a month profit with any type of agency that's not in a saturated industry. And so hopefully you found this useful. If you did, like the video, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.